Hey guys, what is up? Kid here of Burn One, the Shadowverse Evolved channel, bringing you another deck profile again on Haven. That's right, we are back-to-back Haven deck profiles here. This time on Aegis Control, one of my favorite decks right now. I really think this deck is very powerful right now. It probably still struggles against the tier 1 deck, which is Egg Haven, but I think it has a pretty good matchup into everything else. So let's just get right into the deck profile itself. Alright, so here is the deck itself. This version of the deck here, this is more of a cookie cutter build. This is what I feel like most players, at least during this time, Japan was mostly playing this. This is the list I've been playing. I want to make some changes to it, one of them being Seraph, though I don't know if it's worth it or not. It really depends on the meta, but we'll just go ahead and talk about the deck and get right into it here. We are a control deck, Bellringer Angel, very good card. We like drawing, we like wards. It also acts as a removal occasionally. Since the Evo, we do play a 1-up to deal 2 damage. Angelic Snipe, 3-up. We are a control deck. I think Angelic Snipe right now, it has just so many good targets to be playing this card. So I feel like a lot of decks, even Egg Haven, for example, would probably gain some value from playing Angelic Snipe. I really like the card right now. Very powerful. The Saviors here. So this card is really good in my opinion. I like that it hits a lot of the 2-cost followers that we just do not, or not 2-cost, 2 health followers we don't want to see anymore. We get to banish them, which means our opponent's Bellringer Angels are not going to be drawing them cards. A lot of the time when we use this card, we are using it for the secondary effect, which is select an enemy follower with 2 defense or less on the field and banish it. If you Angelic Snipe 4/4, then use this to banish it. You can do that as well, as long as the follower has 2 or less health. The first effect here is search your deck for a Marwyn Omen of Repose, reveal it and add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck afterwards. We occasionally use that if we really need to find our Marwyn. Otherwise, it's most of the time you're going to be using it for the secondary effect as a control tool. And then the turns leading up to, you think you can either play a Marwyn early and get value out of that, then you can search it out. Otherwise, you have other ways to naturally draw into Marwyn for your like turn 7 or 8 Evo of it. Guardian Sun, we are playing Aegis, so obviously we're playing this card. Still a really good card, obviously, for Aegis, since it's hard to remove Aegis. It usually buys us 1 extra turn once it's put onto Aegis. 2 Sacred Pleas, this is kind of our draw engine here. You don't really need that much draw on this deck. We have other ways to find cards as well as, draw as well, with the other Amulet coming up as well. This is just a Sacred Pleas, just a very strong draw engine here for the deck. 3 Surefire Bullets, we're a control deck. There's still a lot of 4/4 followers that evolve on turn 3 or 4, so this is just a really clean answer for it and lets us have play points left over, as well as we have some followers in this deck that do give us back or refund us play points during our opponent's turn. Usually we're going to get 2 extra play points on our opponent's turn, which means Surefire Bullet is always active, or any quick spell that's 2 or less. And so it's important to have access to these and at least threaten these against our opponent. Play 2 Globe of the Starways. This is usually to find either Sacred Pleas. Sometime we get our Seraphs. Like I said, Sacred Pleas, Guardian Suns. This is how we find those cards. It has the secondary effect too, which I've talked a lot before, which is it has the quick effects, which is pay 2, tap this into the cemetery, heal 1, draw 1. So on the turns where we get refunded 2 play points, our opponent doesn't really do anything threatening. We don't use a Surefire Bullet to remove it. We can pop Globe of the Starways to draw extra cards that way. So this is a new card here. We play as a 3-of. It's a 3-drop 2/4. At the start of each opponent's main phase, we recover 1 play point. This is kind of what I was alluding to earlier. We play 2 of the Evo. A lot of times we want to Evo this when possible because it's just that powerful. So on Evolve, you select a reserved enemy far on the field and you banish it. And at the start of each opponent's main phase, recover 2 play points. So this is what I mean, where we get value out of this card where we Evo, banish something, and then we get refunded 2 play points during our opponent's turn, which means now we have Surefire Bullet to threaten anything else coming out. If it has 4 or less health on Evo, then it's an easy target for Surefire Bullet. Otherwise, like I said, we have Starways, which we can pop to draw 1, heal 1, Angelic Snipe, Saviors, just any quick spells generally that cost 2 or less play points most of the time is what we're looking for. Sometimes we get up to 3 play points or more, even 4 play points. Because of the refund, putting us there means we could activate more of our other quick spells. Like, for example, this next one here, Craving's Splendor. This is a really powerful neutral card. you'll probably see this in a lot of decks, even moving forward. It's a 3-drop quick spell. If Gillen needs Omen of Cravings on the field, this costs 3 less if it's in the EX area. This first effect here almost never comes up in this deck, or I should just say never comes up because we don't play the card. But the second effect is what's so good. It deals 4 damage on an enemy follower, and then you heal 1. Healing's good. 3 costs to deal 4 damage to something. So if our opponent's playing a non-evoed 4 damage or 4 health follower, this is one way we can remove it without having to use Surefire Bullet. It's a really, really strong card. I'm sure you'll see it a lot more as the meta develops. Jeanne d'Arc here, we play as a 3 of. This is kind of our earlier removal, so we don't have to Themis the board when need be. So on 4, deals 2 damage to each enemy follower. We can Evo for 2. We play 2 of the Evo. We do 2 damage to enemy followers on the field again. So generally we're doing 4 AoE damage to our opponent. And then we give each of our followers +2 health. The +2 health doesn't come up too often, but Jeanne d'Arc as a board clear against aggro matchups and things like that, and just clear things out. And a lot of times even Jeanne will get something down to like 2 or less health, which means the Saviors is now activated to banish that follower as well. It's our new guy, Marwyn, Omen of Repose. So this card is obnoxiously good in the sense that if it's in the right matchup, this card will do a lot of work. So it's a 4-drop 4/4, and it costs 40 Evo because of the effect on the Evo side is just that good. And then it has a secondary way to Evo, which is you can skip your next turn to evolve this follower. A lot of the times you will not be skipping your next turn. The only times I've found where it's been pretty beneficial to Evo this on 4 is when we go first into a control mirror match, because the Evo side makes it an 8/8 ward aura on Evo. You increase your max play points by 1, give your leader +3 health, and you draw a card. Even in that matchup, you don't engage this follower a lot of the times, because what happens is your opponent doesn't have a very good way of dealing with this card, so they're forced to also Themis or do some kind of board wipe generally, and then when it comes back to your turn finally, you're at 6 play points, and the board is clear, there's no threats on the board, which lets you develop Seraph onto the board without being scared of immediately losing the game. That's the only playline I've found with Seraph that's been really, really good. Seraph is only really powerful in the mirror match. I feel like you can get away in some matchups, like if you're able to play Seraph out after Themis or something and the board isn't that threatening, that's fine. But Seraph has been like a up and down card depending on the matchup. Some matchups, the dead card in the control matchup mirrors, it's really, really powerful. This card is really, really scary though. A lot of times too on turn 7 with an Evo point, or even turns 8, that's usually when you just pay the cost Evo, because an 8/8 body ward is really scary that has aura. You heal 3, draw a card, gain a max play points, which means the next turn you're going to 10 play points, which means you can Heavenly Aegis, Evo it, play down Guardian Sun onto it and everything, and basically get to your end game 1 turn quicker, which is like the important part. We play 2 Erd because honestly Egghaven is still an annoying matchup, so having some outs to it is pretty good. We play at 1 of the Evo just because we can just like target one thing we want to get rid of. And other matchups like Sword and things like that, it's also an out towards Leonidas if need be. Otherwise, we can just push things away, occasionally prevent our opponent from gaining any tempo, things like that. Card's really good, still 2 for 1 occasionally. I really like the card still. It just has its spot right now because it does so much in a lot of matchups. 4 Alkalites Light. This is just too good of a card and never not to play in this set or in this craft. So we play it as a 3 of 4-drop, banish an enemy follower, you heal 2, it's quick as well. The fact that we get refunded play points is really big, so you know, threatening this a lot feels really good. Themis, this is our emergency button. We need to blow up the board because if we don't, we lose the game. This is kind of our out also into the mirror matchup. When our opponent does play their Marwyn and Evo it, we can just Themis it on turn 5 and just say goodbye to it, so we don't immediately eat 8 face damage and lose the game from there. Like I said earlier, we play Enstatured Seraph as a 1 of. I kind of explained the only line I've ever like really liked playing Enstatured Seraph. That's like the one time it feels good. Outside of that, this card has been kind of clunky. In some matchups, you hope to never draw this card or never see this card even. But sometimes it's a bad draw in some occasions. So I've been thinking of cutting this card completely. But I've been playing kind of this cookie cutter build that Japan was playing a lot. So just trying to get used to it a lot more. So I'm keeping it right now. I still like the card occasionally, especially when you do play the mirror match. If you expect to play a lot of control mirror matches, this card is still worth keeping it around, I think. in other matchups, it's kind of awkward and weird. So if you don't experience like a control mirror too often, I think this card's an easy cut. But I kept it in here because I just want to show you this version of the deck. Play a 1 of Aether of the White Wing. This is another way to find a Heavenly Aegis out of our deck. Sometimes we can even get Marwyn out and Evo it by skipping a turn, which is kind of funny on 7 because then it pushes us up to 9, which hits us to Heavenly Aegis turn, basically. If you need to pull out Jeanne d'Arc to clear the board, pretty good. Pull out Apostle of Repose, pretty good as well. Card's okay. I like the card. It's just mostly here to search out a Heavenly Aegis whenever we can do the setup like that. Sometimes Jeanne d'Arc search feels good, and occasionally Marwyn search comes up, though not too often. And then finally, here we are, Heavenly Aegis. This is our big boy. Pay 2 to Evo it. Otherwise, you can discard 3 cards to Evo it as well. It has Aura, can't be destroyed by abilities. And then we have here 2 of the Evo, Aura on Evolve for the rest of the turn and during each opponent's next turn. This Follower doesn't take damage and this can't be destroyed by abilities. So a lot of times you end up comboing it with Guardian Sun, which means you get a 10-10 unmovable wall for a turn, which usually buys you enough time to win the game with a swing back with Heavenly Aegis or anything else. Or a lot of games do take multiple swings if you don't get in early damage. But usually at that point of the game, when you have an Heavenly Aegis on board, it's really hard for your opponent to deal with because it does have Aura, which means they can't just use something very simple to remove it. They're going to have to crash followers into it or do AoE damage to remove it that way. Yeah, so this is the version I've been playing right now and getting used to the meta with. I really like this deck. I think this is a really great starting point if you're looking at playing Control Haven, Aegis basically. I think this is the list you should start with and then tweak it to your liking from there. Like I said, I think Enstatured Seraph is a card that could easily be cut depending on your meta. Erd isn't necessarily needed as well. I just like the card into the egg matchup, the egg matchup. But yeah, try it out. Let me know what you guys think, what you guys do with your Haven control list. I'm very interested since this is probably one of the few decks I'm most likely going to be playing a lot of during this meta. But besides that, if you guys like the deck or anything like that, just make sure to leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Helps the channel grow, helps, keep me motivated to keep pushing these videos out and everything like that. But yeah, I think with that being said, I hope to see you guys in the next video. Later.